Αγαπητοί φίλοι και φίλες, καλησπέρα. Καλώς ορίσατε στην εκπομπή Υγεία και Ευεξία. Σήμερα φιλοξενούμε τον διευθυντή του Profound Health Summit, Phil MICANS. Good evening, Phil. It's
Good
nice
evening,
to have you.
Lovely to be here. That sounded all Greek to me, but it's lovely to talk to everybody.
Yes, it was just an introduction, you know.
Thank you. Thank
So,
you.
right, Phil, can you tell us about the inspiration behind creating the Profound Health Summit, please?
Thank you very much. It'd be my pleasure to do so. So, being involved in research for many years than I care to mention, they care to think about, is I've been to many meetings around the world, and there are different kinds of meetings, obviously. There's a scientific meeting where they really go into detail. There are clinicians meetings where, how should we say, you get more practical advice. And then, of course, there's public meetings where you get a kind of glossy overview of things. And we focus mainly on the clinician side of things and what I refer to as the educated individual. So people who are really interested in health and medicine, and of course the clinicians who actually apply it. But one thing we noticed about many of the meetings we go to is that you're very time poor. You don't really get as much detail as you want. So we thought it would be better to create a kind of workshop type environment where people, the clinicians, present their data and their findings and what they do, and that people have time to actually not only absorb that information, but also to meet the speaker and talk to them about their concerns and issues. And of course, to do that, you need time.
Exactly.
And, you know, and how do you make time? So what we do at the Profound Health Summit is the weekend, which is May 25, 26, not so far away now. Everybody is in the same building. You have breakfast together, you have lunch together, you have dinner together, you have all the breakout meetings together. So in other words, we're expecting around 150 to 200 people. You have the opportunity that weekend, you know, from 9 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock at night, and then dinner at 8 o'clock, to meet everybody. And so you might have listened to a speaker that morning and you thought, that's very interesting. And then you might find yourself at lunch or at dinner sitting next to them. And that doesn't happen at every meeting. Some meetings, the speaker flies in, they do their slot, and they disappear. You never see them again. So it's very, and of course, this is a live meeting. There's not, you don't go and sit in a room and watch videos of people talking from the other side of the world, right? So this is very important. This is a live meeting, real people that you can look in the eye and shake their hands. And so that's what we designed. I'm not ashamed to say that it's quite high end, quite intimate, quite luxurious. We put it in a 5-star stately home that's just north of London, like 20 minutes by train from London. It's called Luton Hoo. And you can look that up. And if you've seen films like 3 Weddings and a Funeral or James Bond, Never Say Never Again, you've already seen Luton Hoo because things were filmed there. So it's all about having a good experience, an interesting experience, and going home not only with new friends, but also having learned something that we hope will be very useful to you, either as an individual or if you're a doctor, that you can actually start practicing in your clinic.
Okay, that's very interesting. Yes, you have answered half of my questions so far.
Sorry about that.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Yes, we are saving time. So what are some of the key health topics or themes that will be addressed during the summit?
Yes, thank you. The overall topic is maximizing health span, you know, because we're very much into preventative and regenerative medicine and what the Americans like to call anti-aging medicine. And So on that basis, how do we maximize our healthy years? You know, we'd all like to live longer, but we all know that living longer is not good if we don't live well, if we don't have a good state of health, a decent state of health at least. And so that, of course, that's the thing about health span. So how do we maximize our health span? I always say that there are three things in older life that we must have, and that is we want to be independent, we want to be lucid, and we want to uh, be agile. So as long as we can get around and think clearly and respond and live a normal life, even if we're 90, even if we're 100, that's what the aim is, of course. So all our speakers are coming. They're talking about all from all around the world. I'll certainly get into that in a moment. And they're talking about how to use things like stem cells and peptides and hormones and gene therapies and nutrition and lifestyle, you know, as a holistic thing. Because I always say optimal health is like a pyramid. And the base of the pyramid, where you do most of the stuff, we all know: the right food, not too much stress, you know, some exercise and all those good things. They're the things we must do very regularly. But if we go up the pyramid, there are things that we don't need so much of, but maybe if we incorporate them into our health regimen, maybe it will help us. So we could start talking, you know, we could talk about vitamins and minerals and oils. I prefer to call them oils than fats. And of course, hormones, stem cells, peptides, all these emerging things that we're now seeing. And of course, we can get very specific because those in the longevity field talk about biochemical pathways. They talk about mTOR or senescence or AMPK. A hot topic at the moment is NAD, for example. You know, so how do we achieve those goals? How do we activate these pathways that could keep us healthier for longer? So these are all topics that are going to be discussed at the Profound Health Summit.
Could you name some, you know, a few of the speakers?
My pleasure. I'm delighted and really quite thrilled to have Dr. Bill Cham coming to our event because I think what he's come up with is incredible, but also because he's coming all the way from the island of Vanuatu near New Zealand. And so it's fantastic that we've literally, to go to England, that's literally the other side of the world. So he's coming over. He doesn't come to Europe very often. He has a remarkable story that we could spend the whole segment talking about. But in a nutshell, basically, he has discovered a natural way, a cream, in fact, that eradicates skin cancer. That's basal cell carcinomas and squamous cell carcinomas specifically. And he has over 20 years of research behind him, and it's been published and all kinds. It's one of the challenges we face in medicine today, that so many things have actually been discovered around the world over many years, but we've not learnt any of them for various reasons. So that's a remarkable. He'll come and tell us how he came up with it, and the fact that they've now documented over 80,000 patient cases with a 100% success rate, I think probably speaks for itself. So he's one of our keynote lecturers. We have a little bit of a focus on cancer this year because we think it's important, because unfortunately the statistics tell us that 1 in 2 of us will get cancer in our life. And so I think it's, even hopefully, God forbid, you ever get cancer or anybody you know, but I think I think every family has had its brush with cancer. You know, it's just the way it is. So we think it's important to know that, to educate oneself about what you can do, because God forbid that situation arises, you might make the right choices if you already know something. So we also have a gentleman called Dr. Abdul Slocum, who's coming from Istanbul. And Abdul runs one of Europe's most successful cancer clinics. And they use a multitude of different approaches. And I think that's their secret, that they use. I haven't got time to go into it now, but he has a very successful practice, has some of the best reversal rates of cancer in Europe. And I can say Europe because he's on this side of the Bosphorus. I know most of Turkey in Asia, but he's in the European bit. So he's coming over. So that's going to be very fascinating to listen to him. From Cyprus, we have Dr. Marius Kriazis, who I think is quite well known. And you probably know he lived in Larnaca, of course. And I've known Marius for many years. And when he lived in London, he and I helped to run the British Longevity Society, which he still operates. So it's great. He's going to be talking on the subject of mTOR and rapamycin, currently a very hot topic. So it's delightful to have Marius there. We also have Professor Suresh Ratan from Denmark, who's well known in the geriatric field. He's going to be speaking on his subject that he's very well known for, which is hormesis. And basically, that is how mild stress is actually beneficial for us. And the most obvious one to that, of course, is exercise, because that's what it is. So there's some of them. Yes. There's some of our speakers. We have the really quite famous, certainly in America, Liz Parrish, Dr. Liz Parrish. She's a lady who has hit the headlines, the BBC and all these places, because she is literally the first person in the world to have a complete gene therapy on herself. And so she's obviously going to be talking about gene therapies. And all I can say is she's a very attractive lady. So let's hope there's something in it. And every year I see it, I think, you're still looking very good. So let's hope there's something there. So we'll learn about gene therapies from Dr. Parrish.
It sounds, I'm sorry, yes.
Sorry, no, we don't have a mass of speakers. We have 14 speakers, but they're literally coming from all over the world, from Europe, from Asia, from Oceania with Dr. Cham, or Australasia, if you prefer to call it that, and of course the United States. And there are some British people there too. We're not dead in the water in England yet. So we've got Dr. Rob Verkerk, who's quite well known in the UK. He's going to be talking about the importance of micronutrients. We have another lovely lady called Melanie Aldridge. She's going to talk about how to combat brain inflammation. We have Dr. Wendy Denning, who is going to talk about using bioidentical hormones in menopause. So there are lots of subjects. We even have somebody talking about how AI is going to impact health and medicine. That's Professor Debbie Vinsky from Indonesia. She's very well known in that part of the world. So if anyone wants to check out the full list, if they go to the profound-health-summit.com, they'll see all the details there. But as I say, it's May 25, 26, weekend. So,
yes, no, that sounds excellent, very interesting. And I would like to go back to Dr. Marios Kyriazis, and I would like to thank Dr. Kyriazis because he's contributing to this show a lot, and
yes,
I'm very grateful. And also I would like to say that I always enjoy Dr. Marios Kyriazis speeches, talks, because he loves putting a touch of, like humor. He's got a nice sense of humor. So it's not boring,
No,
sometimes we go to these events.
And he's a lovely, calm man, isn't he? He has
exactly.
a lovely, calm mannerism about him. You always get the feeling that nothing ruffles Marius. He just takes it as it comes. And he, of course, covers a wide area because he has been a medical doctor, seeing patients and what have you and all that kind of thing. And he's also been a researcher. and I know that he's deeply fond of preventative anti-aging medicine, and there aren't too many medical doctors who are like that. So in other words, he has an open mind.
Yes.
That's what I appreciate about him.
Exactly. So I know you've mentioned that the attendees will have the opportunity to speak to one another over breakfast or lunch, but will there be opportunities for attendees to engage directly with experts and speakers, or would you have a specific Q&A session?
Yes, thank you. Yes, we will. What we've actually done, and the reason we've changed it, is we've responded to questionnaires over the years when we ask people. So what we're doing is, and we're sensible hours. You know, I've been to conferences where they say early eye openers, 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'm thinking, no, that means I got to get up at 4:30 to go to a 6 o'clock. No, I'm sorry, you know. So we start at 9 o'clock in the morning, okay, and we have lectures, half-hour lectures with refreshment breaks for tea and coffee, of course, until 2 o'clock. And then from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock, we have a lunch. So you could say we have a later lunch. I accept that. But that's when we do the lectures. And then after lunch, so from 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock, we have an open questions and answer session. So all the speakers of the morning are on stage, and then it's open to anybody in the audience to ask whatever they want. What I also, because I am a moderator, so what I also do is I try to encourage the speakers on the stage to talk to themselves and the audience listen. So sometimes people like that because they're hearing the experts talk amongst themselves and they listen in. But of course, the audience is very welcome to ask whatever questions they want.
Excellent. And Phil, did you make any efforts to accommodate a problem with certain disabilities that they might need, some help, etc., so they will be able to attend?
Well, I don't quite know what you mean. I mean, obviously the hotel is geared up for disabled persons. There are ramps to get in and out of rooms and things like that. It's quite a small auditorium, so even those who perhaps are a little bit hard of hearing should hear very clearly. It's, you know, we're in a fairly small room, as it were, big enough. I mean, expecting about 150 people, sort of number we're talking about, but it feels very human, you know. And by the way, due to the hotel, it's a resort, you know. It has, if anyone wants to bring their spouse along and they want to play golf, go swimming, go cycling, you know, go to the gymnasium, that's all there to enjoy. And the food is all organic and it's all top quality, you know, because that's the other side of the coin, isn't it? Some meetings we go to, everyone's preaching, we should be doing this, we should be doing that. And then everyone has KFC chicken, you know, and chips. So you think, well, hang on. It's not quite right. So we, you know, it's a higher level. It's a good place, nice place, that serves good food. It doesn't mean you have to eat it. You can fast if you want to.
Yes, exactly. So if there is, you know, a variety, then people can choose.
Absolutely,
obviously.
And it's all in one place. It's not one of these. I don't know if you've ever been to Las Vegas. I've been to many shows in Las Vegas, and everything's a mile away. You know, the restroom is a mile away, the cafe is a mile away. You know, this is intimate. It's all in the same building.
Yes, it's very nice and relaxing, and I love the grounds, actually. You know, it's very, yes. Just you can really relax there, and I think it's appropriate.
People think it's in London, because when you say, "Oh, it's in England," everyone, foreigners always assume it's London. No, it's just outside London. It's just north of London. Luton Airport is very close by, so anybody, I think there are direct flights actually from Larnaca to Luton Airport with EasyJet, so it's a cheap way. Or there's a major, if you go to St Pancras train station in London, you can be at the Luton Airport terminal in about 25 minutes. So, and the hotel is literally like a 5-10 minute taxi drive away. So it's close.
No, I think it's appropriate for the event, since you're going to be talking about health, it's not in town, where it's all the pollution, etc. It's relaxing.
You're right.
I think it's the perfect place.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. No, I'm a country boy at heart. I'm not a city boy. I don't mind visiting cities, but I don't want to live there. And the great thing about Luton, it's set in 1,000 acres of its own ground. There's a lake that you can go boating on. They hire out cycles that you can go cycling through the woodland. You're absolutely right. It's if you want to have a weekend away or maybe stay an extra day or two, it can be a nice little break. Yeah.
I used to do that actually, because I used to go a lot to this self-development weekends, spiritual, and I thought, it's going to be a nice break. And usually these kind of events are in the countryside, really nice, relaxing places. And I thought, even if the talks are not that exciting, etc., I'm just going to relax.
Exactly. Go and do something else.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely right. But it's
you make the most of it.
Exactly. But our ethos is basically, if we're really interested in maximizing health span, it's yes, living longer, living healthier, but also enjoying life, right? Having some fun, educating ourselves along the way, but enjoying us, whatever you're into, whether you like golf or swimming or cycling or I don't know, whatever it is, find the time to do it. That's what it is, isn't it? Really,
it's very important, and it's the scientists that are doing all this research, how you can extend, like your life as much as possible, and taking time away. It gives you more years, they said, because you need to relax.
Can I tell you a joke? Can I tell you a joke? As everyone who knows me well knows I like telling jokes. So I'll tell you, my brother, he was told by the doctor some years ago that he had to give up smoking and drinking and women. And he did. He did. And I'll tell you something, he was the healthiest man I knew until the day he shot himself.
He shot himself.
No, it's a joke. It's a joke.
Oh.
But that's my point. Life isn't for working and paying taxes.
Yes.
You've got to enjoy it along the way as well.
Exactly. In moderation, everything in moderation.
Oh, yes, everything in moderation. Yeah.
That's right. Okay. So the website for further information or to find, if people missed something or if we forgot something is Profound
Health-summit.com. And by the way, we have negotiated a special rate with the hotel. So you only have to phone the hotel and say, or use the website.
Fantastic.
And say, I'm going to the Profound Health Summit, and it will save you £80 per night on a room. And that includes, so I'll tell you what it is. It normally, because it's a 5-star hotel, it's normally £280 a night, including breakfast for the room. So 2 people in a room, obviously, if you can be. So, but if you're going to the Profound Health Summit, it's £200. So you don't have to stay at the hotel. If you want to go and stay at a cheaper hotel down the road, you can do that. But if you're staying at the hotel in that part of everybody, if you're walking around that building, it's called the Weir building, but it doesn't matter. If you're walking around that building, and if it's not a member of hotel staff, that everybody there is for the conference. And that's what makes it special. So you might be walking along and there's the speaker that you want to listen to or talk to,
You feel like at home.
Exactly.
Yes, and I love that lovely staircase. I love the staircase. Yes, it's brilliant. Right. Thank you, Phil, for sharing all this information with us. All the best, and to keep us posted with any upcoming events.
Thank you. And by the way, of course, there's a Facebook page. And so, and actually on the days, that live videos and pictures will be posted about everyone enjoying it and what's on, who's doing what. That we're not doing a live video link, by the way,
Sure.
but
Okay.
afterwards the videos will be available. So
Excellent.
for those who
Fantastic.
can't know.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Phil.
Rosanna. Thank you.
Thank you. Αγαπητοί φίλοι και φίλες, εμείς θα τα πούμε και πάλι την ερχόμενη Πέμπτη με ένα καινούριο θέμα και ένα καινούριο φιλοξενούμενο. Καλό σας βράδυ.